We'll do the 11th Maimer in Maimorim Ulukotim in Chelik Gimel, the Maimer Al Kain Koru Layomim Ha'ela Purim Al Shem Hapur, which is the second Maimer the Rebbe said in Purim, Tafshin Yud Gimel, and it brings down there was the first Maimer the Rebbe said was Vahi Oimenes Hadasa, that's brought down in Teres Menachem. And also very interesting, it's brought down over here that at the time when it came out, this actually was printed again in Purim Tinose for Purim. So the Rebbe's, they bring down over here that this seemed to be tied with what happened in that day, in that time. That was the time that the ruler, which was Stalin, Yimach Shemoy, he was a Tzeder Yisrael. He was a very strong anti-Semite against the Jewish people. And that was his downfall. That story, the Rebbe said at the Fabrengen at the time, before this Maimer. So it all seems like, as we'll see in the Maimer, all associated to the downfall at that time of the Tzeder HaYehudim at that time. In any event, the Maimer was the second Maimer that the Rebbe gave on in Tafshin Gimel on Purim. So we'll go inside. Alkein koru layomim ha'ela Purim al shem hapur. So the pasuk says the reason we call these days Purim was because of the lottery. Haman threw a lottery to try to figure out what would be the best date to fulfill his wishes to destroy, to annihilate the Jewish people. So he threw lotteries, but the Yom Tov is called Purim al Shem HaPur. So the Rebbe says, Al Pi HaYedua, so it's according to what is known, Sheshmoi Shel Kol Dover Moira Al Inyonei, that the name of every item points to what the contents is. So move on, it's understood. Why was these days called Purim based on the lottery? Is lefi she'iker hayom tov the Purim hu hakoyel, because the main aspect of Yom Tov of Purim is lottery. That's why we call it Purim. We call it Pur. We call it lottery because the main part of Purim is goyrel. Pur hu hagoyrel. Pur is the goyrel, the lottery. So the question is, the lottery was actually thrown by Haman as part of the Gezerah. How is this part of the name of the Yom Tov? We need to understand, as the Alter Rebbe in Torah is questions with the same opening of Al Kein Kol Yom Ha'elu, the L'chaira, it would seem this wasn't the main miracle, wasn't the lottery. To add, not only the Rebbe is adding, not only wasn't it the main miracle, but this was contrary to the miracle. The lottery that the lots that Haman threw, not only was that not the miracle, but on the contrary, this was part of the decree. HaMegillah, and the use the language of the Megillah, it says Hipil Pur hu hagoyrel huma, that he threw these lots, which is the goyrel, to destroy them, to decimate them, and to destroy them. That was the purpose of the goyrel. It says in the Megillah. So but the fact that these days are called Purim because of the lottery, mashma, it would appear hu iker hanes the Purim, that this lottery that Haman threw was the main miracle of Purim. To the extent that it's so much important that we call the Yom Tov on these lotteries. What is it about those, the lottery, that will call the whole name of the Yom Tov? So the Rebbe says, well, maybe we can explain is because the lotteries was that it came out on the and he didn't know. He thought that Moshe Rabbeinu only died. He didn't know that he was born. So the lottery came out to be a lucky, auspicious, a great day. So seemed that we could have explained Hapi Mahashi is a big Gemara based on what we find in the Gemara. That when the lottery fell on the month of Adar, Samach Haman Simcha Gedola. Haman was very happy. Why? Omar, he said, Nofal Lipur B'Yerech Shemeis by Moshe. I got the lottery came to me. It landed on the month that Moshe died. That means that he will be able. It's a bad month for the Yidden. He will be able to do his plot. But what he did not know, Haman, that Shebeshiva Ba'odar Meis Ubeshiva Ba'odar Noilad, that Hitake died on the 7th day of Adar, but he was also born on the 7th day of Adar. And the fact that he was born, the Gemara says, Kidai al Yom, the birth to atone for the Yom HaMisa. So based on this, it was possible to say, that these days are called on the name of the lottery. And this is why we call it the Nes of the Pur, is the miracle when the lottery came out. That the miracle of Purim is that it came out on the month of Adar. The month in which Moshe, the savior of Yidden, was born. So that's the miracle. It's not the lotteries, but when the lottery came out. But the Rebbe says the Lashon is mashma, it has to do with the lottery, not with when the lottery came out. The name Purim means lotteries. This explanation still needs to be looked into, because because the fact that the Yom Tov is called the Purim because of the lottery, mashma, so it appears shahashayches the hanes, shahashayches the hanes lepuri, that the connection of the miracle of the Yom Tov Purim to the Pur is loy rak lozesh nofal lapur b'chodesh Adar, not only to the fact that this lottery came out in the month of Adar, elogam le'inyan apur atzma, but this is also Pur itself. The lottery itself is the miracle. Ma'adrab, iker hanes hoyu mitzad apur hagoyrel. Yes, it came out on Adar. That was a result of the main miracle, was that there was a lottery here. There was a goyrel. The goyrel hu inyan ala b'yosef, and it came out on Adar. The goyrel hu inyan ala b'yosef. The idea of lottery is something very great. It's a very high elevated matter. Shemizeh nimshech hanes. That is where the nes extends from that level, that great level of lottery. And the fact that the lottery came out in the month of Adar, in which the savior of the Yidden was born, this is like all the other aspects in the miracle of Purim, they are a result from the main aspect of Purim al Shem HaPur, because of the lottery. And then, as a result, it came out also in the month of Adar, and that was the savior of the Yid. So what is this idea of the lottery, which is Purim, which is the main aspect of Purim over here? And the Rebbe says that this will be understood because we say Purim is like Kippurim. Kippurim, Yom Kippurim is like Purim, as the Rebbe will bring down. Purim, we also had the Gerolas. We also had the lots over there on the two goats, which would be La Hashem, which would be La Azazel. And the idea that a lottery comes from a place which is much higher even than logic, and it's in a higher place in the Ein Sof. The Yuvan's base. Yuvan's al pi hamavur b'Torah will understand it based on what's explained in Torah. The Purim, the Yom HaKippurim, Shayochim Zelozeh. That Purim and Yom Kippur have a connection one to another. The Pirush Yom Kippurim, the day is like Purim. Who Yom Kippurim means Kimoy Purim, it's like Purim. The Yisayrim is not only is there a connection of Purim and Yom Kippur, but actually Purim is higher than Yom Kippur because Yom Kippur is only Kippurim. The Yisayrim is the Mizeh Sheyom HaKippurim Hu Kippurim. The fact that Yom Kippur is like Purim b'chof hadimim bilvad, with a similar chof like the alone, it's not mamish like Purim. Muchach, it's evident. Shapurim hu naila yesem Yom Kippurim, that Purim is even greater, higher than Yom Kippur. So, what's the connection between Mahashayches, the Yom HaKippurim, and Purim? So, what is of the connections between Yom Kippur and Purim? Shebishneim hu inyan hagoydel, by both of them is the idea of the lotteries of goydel. The Yom HaKippurim ipilu goydel ashnei hasirim. On Yom Kippur, they threw the lotteries of the two goats to be chosen, La Hashem and La Azazel, which one goes where. V'gam Purim al Shem HaPuru HaGoydel. Also Purim is on the name of the lottery, the Goydel, that's why it's called Purim. So Goydel, Purim, this is the connection of Yom Kippur and Purim. V'oid inyan b'hashayches the Purim, Yom Kippurim. There's another aspect in the connection of Purim and Yom Kippur. They're both higher than the Shem Havaya. By Yom Kippur, it says Lifnei Havaya, and in the Megillah, there's no mention of the name of Hashem because it's higher than the name of Hashem. Sheshneim, both Purim and Yom Kippur, Hem L'maylo M'Shem Havaya, are higher than the Shem Havaya. The B'Yom HaKippurim Ksiv, by Yom Kippurim is written Lifnei Havaya, before, higher than Havaya, above Havaya, Titoharu. The purity comes from Lifnei Havaya, that is on Yom Kippur. L'maylo Havaya, which is above Havaya. Purim Yadua, also as far as it relates to Purim, it's known. The reason why the name of Hashem isn't mentioned in all of the Megillas Esther, who lifisha bePurim, who gilu in sof shalamayla Havaya, is because by Purim there is a revelation of the infinite, of the Ein Sof, of the light of the Ein Sof, which is higher than Havai. So there's no name of Hashem in the Megillah because it's beyond the Shem Havai. So what's the connection of being a level of lottery and also both being higher than Shem Havai? So what's the connection of higher than Shem Havai to the idea of a lottery? And to explain the connection of these two aspects, when we compared Yom Kippurim or Purim, when we're comparing these two aspects, number one, we're saying they're both lottery. Number two, they're both higher than Shem Havaya. Shebishneim he inyan hagoydel. Both of them is the level of the lottery. Usheshneim heim l'mayla m'Shem Havaya. They're both higher than Shem Havaya. Yuvon Bahagdim will understand it by first introducing the Inyan HaGoyrel, the idea of the lottery is something which is higher than the intellect. It's higher than the intellect. When you make a lottery and you choose something through a lottery, that means that it comes from beyond the rationale. If there is a rationale, then you choose it because there is some sort of a reasoning. But when you have two things exactly equal, so there's really no rationale, so then you throw a lottery, which is beyond the rationale. So the inyan hagoyrel u'maylam haseichel, the idea of a lottery is higher than the intellect. Goyrel hu bichlal b'shnei dvarim shovim. Goyrel generally is when you have two equal things. U'k'may shnei hasi'irim d'yem ha'kippurim, like you have the two goats of Yom Kippur, and so Yishavim b'maru b'koyma b'domim. So they were equal. They were just the same. They looked the same height, the same amount of money. So they were all the same. So then you had to throw a lottery to choose which one. If it's a situation that one is better, there's no room, there's no need for a lottery. It is only when these two items are equal. So since based on the intellect, you cannot make a decision which one to choose. So then you rely on the lottery which is beyond seichel. That means the lottery comes beyond seichel. This is what the idea of a goyrel here below, in a regular lottery one, but the goyrel, in a similar way, it's above. The goyrel hu l'maylo mishtalshlus, that goyrel is beyond the order of the hishtalshlus. The chokma here is hishtalshlus, because the beginning of hishtalshlus is intellect. The goyrel shul l'maylo ma'achokma l'maylo ma'hishtalshlus, and therefore goyrel, which is beyond chokma, higher than the level, from the beginning of hishtalshlus, is higher than hishtalshlus. So according to this hashva, the purim v'yema kippurim, this comparison, that purim v'yema kippurim b'shneim hu inyan hagoyrel, that by both of them is the idea of the goyrel, that means hu gilu ein sof shalamayla mishtalshlus. There's a revelation of the ein sof which is higher than hishtalshlus. And this is the connection, the tie between the two ideas when we compare Yom Kippur and Purim. By both of them we find the level of Goyrel. And by both are higher than Abaya. Abaya who is Ishtalshlus. Abaya is Ishtalshlus. The Yud is Chochma, Hey Bin V'chulu. Yom Kippurim Purim Ma'alim Abaya. The high Hushagilu Diyem HaKippurim. The Purim, that the revelation of Yom Kippur and Purim, it was beyond the Ishtalshlus, Inyan HaGoydel. So that is the idea of higher than Ishtalshlus, which is the idea of the Goydel.